So, as you guys know, Count Dankula, who goes by the name of Michan, is a comedian who managed to get arrested in the United Kingdom for training his dog in order to perform a Nazi salute. And apparently, this is grossly offensive. It's not funny. And 2 years down the line, with a very costly lawsuit, he was found guilty. And he has to pay £800. And this shows that being a comedian is a very dangerous profession and you need insurance. Making comedy is some serious shit. And you play with people's feelings. Every time you make a joke, you risk offending someone. And if you grossly offend someone, the UK law says that you have to pay fines, which is why you should be insured if you're a comedian. Don't joke with this type of crap. It's very important to be insured. So he decided to file an appeal. He said that this is unlawful, and his appeal was rejected. So let's read one of the court documents which he presented. Likewise, the appeal against sentence is not arguable. This was deeply unpleasant offense in which disgraceful and utterly offensive material was very widely distributed by the appellant. To be fair, he just uploaded a YouTube video which went viral. Now, unfortunately, you don't really know if your YouTube videos is going to go viral or not. I mean, hell, this video could get viral. And if I'm in the UK, maybe I'll get in trouble, who knows. But it's a little bit bewildering to put this type of responsibility on the person because people aren't Jesus Christ. They don't know the future. They're not the Terminator coming to rescue Sarah Connor and they have knowledge of future events. People don't know if a video is going to be viral or not. And as such, I don't understand why you would punish someone more if the video is viral. And you would punish someone less if the video is not viral. I guess this is a punishment for good comedians, because if something goes viral, it means that it probably created a good comedic effect. Notice that the question here, the essence is not if it's funny or not, is if it's offensive or not. There are plenty of things that are funny, but also offensive. And as such, they do not fall under the protection of the law. You need to be very careful in Britain, right? Like, in their entire country, in their entire nation, they have this little thing in the capital called the Speaker's Corner. And had Count Dankula done the pug joke at the Speaker's Corner, he might be free, but he didn't do it in the corner. He didn't know his place. Because of that, he got in trouble with the law. This was the considerable distress of the community in question. Can you imagine that? Like, Jewish people in Britain were distressed. There was probably a Jewish banker who came home, opened the telly, and saw Count Dankula on the news with his Nazi dog doing the salute. And this caused distress to the gentleman. Right? He couldn't sleep that night. This is why being a comedian means you need to have a lot of responsibility. You can't just make jokes like that. You can't throw away random jokes. And it's also disturbingly to the apparent approval of a large number of persons who appear to share the appellant's racist views. So not only that, but apparently other people who looked at Count Dankula thought that this is trivial. They didn't understand the gravitas of the situation. Training your dog to raise its paw when you say Zig Heil, it's just unacceptable. And now people think it's acceptable. Do you see what Michan did? Do you see the damage he did in British society? Indeed, it must be observed that in the circumstances, the appellant was fortunate that the learned sheriff was not considering custody as an option. You should be happy, right? The punishment should have been far worse. I also refer to the sheriff's report at paragraph 83, where he deals with the plea and mitigation. He charitably describes this as unusual. On my reading, it appears to be wholly improper. It involved an attack upon the bona fide of the police and prosecution, an apparent refusal by an officer of the court to accept the verdict of that court, an apparent attempt to intimidate the court in the sentencing process by reference to a publicly funded appeal. Publicly funded appeal, right? So You need to understand, in Britain, Lady Justice is not blind. It sees very well, and it sees class very well. So poor people, if they can't get the money for an appeal, tough shit. If you actually try to crowdfund an appeal, if you ask the public to give you money, that's intimidation, right? You're intimidating the court. So you need to be careful. You need to know your place where you're in Scotland. All right, you need to know your place. If the law finds you guilty and you don't have money for an appeal, if you ask the public to raise money for you, that's intimidating the court. Expressions of personal views on the outcome by the solicitor whose professional duty was clearly confined to submissions in fact and law, and apparently enthusiastic endorsement of the appellant's defiance. So what they're saying here is that you shouldn't even have a defendant, right? Like the lawyer should be careful because the lawyer is next in line. Apparently the lawyer did his job and defended this madman, right? You're not supposed to defend him because apparently it says right here, the solicitor, right? So the lawyer's defendant was enthusiastic in endorsement of the appellant's defense. Like he was happy that an appeal was filed. What type of lawyer does that? Like, what type of lawyer? Like, can you imagine this, right? So I go to my lawyer and I say, we're going to file for an appeal. And the lawyer is happy. He should be put in prison. He should be sent to the gulag. What the fuck is... for an officer of the court to engage in such behavior is at best unprofessional and improper and would certainly merit a professional complaint. Jesus fucking Christ. Indeed, for my part, I consider the solicitor was fortunate. So the lawyer's defendant was fortunate not to himself require representation on the matter of contempt. I never read anything more Orwellian in my entire life. Like, I gotta say, right? So... I love the gravitas that they're treating this shit. Like, he taught his dog to do a Nazi salute. This is like the worst thing in society that has happened. This is like a member from ISIS. You understand? This is like, it's the worst type of terrorism. Humor. And not only that, but they're upset that other people don't see it this way. Like, other people in society don't agree with them, and that is a problem. And secondly, the defendant, the lawyer, not only is encouraging this activity, but he was happy when Michan decided to file for an appeal. What if I'm a British person and I find this offensive? Grossly offensive. Like, you're a British person, aren't you? Like the guy listening to me. There must be a Brit. Do you not find this offensive? Do you think the law can be applied in your favor and say, you know, like sue this judge for being grossly offensive? Of course not. Absolutely not. The most bewildering thing that I find is the idea that if you crowdfund it, like if you don't have the money for an appeal and you raise money through crowdfunding, that is intimidating the court. That is absolutely bewildering. I have never heard about this anywhere in the world. But not only that, I remember the time where the media, the mainstream media, was livid that Nichan is actually like crowdfunding his defense. Because I honestly think that the media and everyone looking at this case realizes just completely ridiculous. You know, to get a guy arrested for making a joke, it's bewildering. And they know that he has a case, like he can't defend himself. And they're livid that he's gathering money in order to be able to fund the defense. Because that's what he's doing. Like, if you're in the wrong, if you legitimately broke the law, you can spend as much money for a lawyer as you want. It's not going to help you. Like, if the police breaks into the room and there is video recording with you stabbing someone and the police catches you in the act of stabbing, right? You can spend as much money as you want for lawyers. It's not going to help out. So, in this case, why were people in the mainstream media livid that he was crowdfunding? Why is this judge... Because basically what he is doing is creating a legal precedent. He is making the claim that if you're going to crowdfund the defense, that is intimidating the court. This is how this person thinks. So in the future, in the United Kingdom, if you think that you maybe want to crowdfund in order to buy a lawyer, or to get some legal representation. That is contempt of court. That's intimidating the court in the sentencing process by reference to a publicly funded appeal. Bewildering. Or is it just the reference? Like, can you do it, but you need to keep quiet, like you didn't do it? You pretend you got the money from your grandma. You pretend you went to the grandma's house, lifted the mattress, and there were 156,000 pounds underneath that you're using it to fund the defense, huh? Let's see what Nichan has to say about it.
I'm going to jail. I'm going to jail.
So apparently he refuses, out of principle, to pay the 800 pounds fine, even though he has the money to do it. And he says that if worse comes to worse, he's got to go to jail. Now, his lawyers are apparently trying to find different ways of attacking this decision. I suggest that he also tries the European Human Rights Court in order to see if he finds some justice there. Another possibility would legitimately be to seek political asylum in Hungary. This is what I would do if I was him. Apparently, the Hungarian Prime Minister did say that he is opening his borders for Westerners fleeing multiculturalism. So he can definitely go to the Hungarian embassy and try to find political asylum over there. Personally, I really wish he wouldn't, to be honest. I really like Mitya. Didn't talk to him a lot of times, but every time we interacted, he was very nice to me. He's a very nice person. I don't think he deserves this shit. If I could, I would genuinely pay his fine. But unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. I know he would probably be livid at me and he would hate me for it, but I would still do it because I think I would do the right thing. I don't want him to end up in prison because I've been to prisons when I was in law school. You know, part of the education is you do get to go there and you talk with the convicts. It's absolutely horrible, very very horrible place. I don't know how much time he's going to get if he refuses to pay the 800 pounds, but yeah. We'll see how it turns out. So I wish him the best, and I'll keep you guys in touch if everything new comes out.